Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the King and Pocket Aces Fantasy Show, brought to you by RotoBaller Radio and RotoBaller.com. I'm Anthony Aniano, Pocket Aces, flying solo today. As you can see, we are without the King, the Hall of Famer, and my good friend Scott Engel for the Week 17 Sleeper and Value Play Show. Guys, don't forget, head over to RotoBaller.com, check out everything we have there, the main page, the premium package, the expert chats. You name it, RotoBaller.com has it for you, whether DFS or season-long formats. Baseball, football, basketball, MMA, esports, NASCAR, PGA, sports betting, RotoBaller.com has you covered. Sign up with the promotional code ACES for myself or my partner, usually, the King. Sign up with the promo code KING for Scotty and save yourself an additional 10% at checkout. All right. So each and every week, Scott and I have come at you with values and sleeper plays. Unfortunately, Scott unable to be with us here on this New Year's Eve, New Year's Day special, this Week 17 Championship Week special. So I'll come at you here with a few of my value and sleeper plays for Week 17. And it's Championship Week, so if you're still listening, congratulations. Bring home the championship this week and let us know on Twitter at Scotty the King or at Aniano Fantasy and let us know how you did. And make sure you like and subscribe right here to the RotoBaller YouTube channel. As football continues through the playoffs here, we start prepping for baseball. There'll be basketball and all sorts of great content right here on that RotoBaller YouTube channel. All right. Quarterback position, we'll start there. And we're still getting beat up by injury, right? Lamar Jackson, at the time of this recording, which is New Year's Eve, okay, Lamar Jackson struggling to get on the practice field. Jimmy Garoppolo dealing with the thumb injury. Kirk Cousins out now with COVID. Carson Wentz will know by Saturday or Sunday what his status is. Teddy Bridgewater out. Jared Goff off COVID list, but still looks like he's not playing Sunday because of a knee. So we have all these situations. Tyler Huntley's going to be a popular play this week. Trey Lance, if you're desperate. I'm not interested in Kellen Mond or whoever starts for the Vikings, whoever starts for the Colts. Drew Lock, no thank you. No thank you for anybody in Detroit. So that being said, as you wiggle your way down, really the two value plays for me are Tyler Huntley, if he starts for the Baltimore Ravens, and Taysom Hill of the Saints against the Carolina Panthers. I give a slight nod to Taysom Hill over Huntley. Huntley against that Ram defense scares me a little bit. Aaron Donald, can they keep Tyler Huntley in the pocket? That's going to be the big question with that game. But give me Taysom Hill against the Carolina Panthers as my value quarterback play. 25 touchdowns allowed in total to the quarterback position. 22 through the air, 3 on the ground. And Taysom Hill, before going on the COVID list, had 2 of 3 games with 20 or more fantasy points. Okay, we know what his ability to do. He's average throwing the ball, very good running the ball. He and Kamara will be the feature of that Saints offense this upcoming Sunday against the Carolina Panthers. At the running back position, if you had asked me in week 1 of these value sleeper plays, the answer probably would have been no. But the way the season has gone, they've now fallen off the radar and fallen back on. And Ronald Jones, he's a popular one, but I can't ignore the matchup for Ronald Jones this week as a value play, a sleeper potentially. Somebody either way, whatever phrase you want to use, Ronald Jones is somebody you're getting in your lineup. Now, 2 weeks ago on the waiver wire show, when Fournette first got hurt, I said be mindful of Ronald Jones, not necessarily for week 16 where he was good, but week 17 against the Jets, and now's the opportunity to roll Ronald Jones out into your lineup. The Jets allow the most fantasy points in the league to opposing running backs, 32.7. They've allowed 22 rushing touchdowns, 4 more than the next highest team. Second most rushing touchdowns allowed was 18. The Jets 22, plus 4 touchdowns to running backs through the air. This is a smash spot for Ronald Jones. He's going to be chalk play in DFS. But in your season long, if you had him, if you added him when Fournette went down, get him in your lineup this week. We continue to pick on the weak. And right now, the Jets' run defense is as weak as it comes. My second value play at the running back position, coming off the injured list, is DeAndre Swift. People have been asking me, are you using him? What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? All right, we saw last week with Detroit, once with DeAndre Swift still out, but Jamal Williams returning, Williams got the work. Craig Reynolds fell to the background. I'm expecting the pecking order to now go back to what it was, and DeAndre Swift to be the number one guy against the Seattle Seahawks. Second most fantasy points allowed on the season to running backs, 29.8. 15 total touchdowns to running backs, 12 on the ground, 3 through the air. Now here's the number I like. With Detroit playing a backup quarterback, it's check downs all day. One of DeAndre Swift's strengths, his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. And he's going against the Seattle defense that has allowed 110 receptions to opposing running backs. The most running back receptions allowed in the league. That's 7.3 receptions per game to opposing running backs. Running backs have 1,000 receiving yards against the Seattle defense. That's just under 67 yards per game. So just to PPR them to death, you're looking at 7 receptions, 67 yards. That's 13.7 PPR points for a running back against Seattle. Now you take whatever you can on the ground, okay, a potential touchdown, and it all adds up to almost 30 fantasy points per game allowed to running backs. So DeAndre Swift, healthy and should be in your lineup. At the wide receiver position, value, sleeper play. Let's go back to Devonta Smith of the Philadelphia Eagles against the Washington football team. Washington's allowing almost 43 fantasy points per game to opposing wide receivers, 21 touchdowns to opposing wide receivers on the season, the most touchdowns to opposing wide receivers allowed in the league. Devonta Smith has had a nice game last week against the Giants, had a big play, a couple of other receptions, continues to be the wide receiver one for Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles, who will, it seems, be without Miles Sanders in the backfield. My second wide receiver coming off that COVID list is Gabriel Davis of the Buffalo Bills. Now, I know it's a crowded wide receiver room. Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley returning, Emmanuel Sanders has been dealing with nagging injuries, and Isaiah McKenzie emerged last week while all of them were out to put up a monster game. But Davis is back off the COVID list and ready to play this week in a smash matchup against Atlanta. Before missing the game because of COVID, Gabriel Davis had multiple touchdowns in multiple weeks leading up to last week. He was actually my play last week, but then COVID took him out at the last minute. I'm not abandoning ship. I'm going back to Gabriel Davis against Atlanta. If you need a wide receiver 3 or a wide receiver 4 this week for your fantasy matchup, Atlanta allows 38.2 points per game to opposing wide receivers. That's 4th most in the league. They've allowed 18 touchdowns to opposing wide receivers, and that's where Gabriel Davis excels as a regular touchdown threat from Josh Allen. Since week 13, the Atlanta Falcons have allowed 7 different wide receivers to score 12 or more fantasy points. I fully expect Gabriel Davis to get in the end zone this week against the Atlanta Falcons. And finally, at the tight end position, Foster Moreau of the Las Vegas Raiders against the Indianapolis Colts. Okay, the last 3 weeks, the Indianapolis Colts have allowed 21 points per game to opposing tight end. That's an astronomical number. Over the last 5 weeks, it's been 18.9 points per game, and on the season, it's 16.6 points per game. The Colts do a terrible job defending opposing tight ends. Moreau's coming off a big game just last week. Okay, he's involved in that offense now with Darren Waller, not only injured but on the COVID list. Foster Moreau will remain a key factor for the Las Vegas Raiders and Derek Carr. If you're looking for a second tight end this week, take a look at Gerald Everett of the Seattle Seahawks going against the Detroit Lions. Gerald Everett has 10 or more fantasy points in 5 of his last 7 games, including last week where he had 4 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown, 16.8 fantasy points. He has become a regular factor for Russell Wilson in the passing game near the goal line. The volume has been there for Gerald Everett, and he's a safe double-digit play this week against the Detroit Lions. All right, everybody. Don't forget, give Scott a follow on Twitter at Scott E. The King. Follow me at Aniano Fantasy, and make sure you like and subscribe right here to the RotoBaller YouTube channel as we get you through the fantasy playoffs and help you prepare for whatever fantasy sports games you have lined up next once your football season ends. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Stay smart, stay safe. Have a happy new year, folks. Have a good one, folks.